The Sit Down is presented by Duff's Famous Wings, live on...
Yo, what's good, Bills Mafia? It's Stevie Johnson, and you're in the Sit Down with my man Sauce God. Go Bills.
Oh, now do you believe? Now do you believe? These guys are good, scary good.
Kisses, trust me. Triple sad kisses.
All right, Bills Mafia, if you're just now tuning in, and sports and entertainment fans all over the world, this is the Sit Down live sports and entertainment podcast, available via audio podcast wherever you may get your podcast from, and live on Facebook and YouTube at Buffalo Sauce God for the social medias, and on Anthony Bomasuto's Facebook page. Guys, this is a part of this Game Book and Sports and Entertainment Network. We have everything that you need for the Buffalo Bills and much more right here on these pages. We'll be live here in just a few seconds. Hit us with a like and a share. This show is sponsored by BuffaloSauceGod.com, Duff's Famous Wings, the Zubaz own 716 Sports Card and Memorabilia store in Depew, the Big Tree Inn next to the stadium in Orchard Park, and Louie's Bar in Attica, home of one of the best weck and wing combinations in all of Western New York. Let's go. Friday night here in the Sit Down.
Kisses, trust me.
Yes, we are live here on Facebook and on YouTube. It is the Sauce God right here in the Sit Down, presented by all those sponsors that you heard in the introduction video. And we are live to talk about everything in the world of Buffalo Bills, Buffalo Sabres, Buffalo culture, and sports and entertainment, with some great commentary from myself and the guys here at the Game Book Sports and Entertainment Network. Like us on Facebook if you haven't already done so. We do have a YouTube channel in the works, but I'll tell you what, we got big things coming. But Bills Mafia, don't forget, if you want, you can catch the Mafia Sports Bar right here on Facebook and YouTube as well for pregame and postgame coverage of the Buffalo Bills and all things related Buffalo sports. So, of course, I've got my co-host here tonight with me. I've got Nickel. How we doing tonight, Nickel?
Man, I'm doing good. I mean, just Friday night. Got, as I play for the Genesee County Spartans, we got tryouts tomorrow out in Buffalo, so that's something to look forward to. And you now being in the family, we got the family Christmas party, so I mean, it's something to look forward to.
Yo, so that Nick, I'm about to bowl 300. I think my highest I think it was 143 or something I had it twice for Gianna's birthday party. So, I've always wanted to be good at bowling. It's just like I've never really been taught, but I started kind of figuring out a little bit. But I still look a little bit like a weirdo tossing that bowling ball down the alley. But at least I don't drop it behind me like my mom once did. And by the way, guys, don't mind the voice. It's Don Vito Corleone. It's Don Sauce God over here in the Game Book to sit down with. Also, the other co-host and the producer of the show, the guy that is really going to be kind of guiding you guys a little bit here with comments, which we want you guys to comment as much as you want. My guy, 12 Gauge, how we doing?
I am doing very well tonight, Sauce. Sorry about your voice, by the way.
Well, so I woke up with it's funny, like I was talking about, I had asthma as a kid. Um, and it's not something you really get rid of, but I did outgrow it because I played a lot of sports and I was active. I did breathing treatments and stuff like that, so I never really had any issues with it since. But I woke up this morning just hacking along. Of course, I do smoke, yeah, but like I don't smoke blunts anymore. I smoke joints, and that's usually much easier on my lungs. So it's just the weather, you know what I'm saying? But I appreciate that 12. 12 Gauge, I appreciate everything that you're going to be doing for the show tonight, producing. Guys, hit us with a like and a share if you haven't done so, and make sure you're following, liked, and subscribed with your notifications turned on so you don't miss the live versions of the Sit Down or the Mafia Sports Bar pregame and postgame coverage of the Buffalo Bills and all things Buffalo sports. But if you can't catch the live version of this, which if you would check it, you have your notifications on, that'll show you when. But if you can't, we're available via audio podcast wherever you may listen to audio podcasts such as Spotify and as well as Apple Podcasts too. The links are also in the description of the show. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about this, a little bit about that. This is kind of for anybody that's new to this, it's more of an unscripted conversation. We on Bills game days, we're giving you guys in-depth analysis, things like that. But now you're going to hear us kind of bullshit and talk a little bit. And so I want to remind everybody out there that this will contain a lot of explicit language. There's nothing hateful here, of course, but we are going to be rated R like a bunch of pirates. So, we are at this point in the NFL season. 12 Gauge has got a couple questions lined up for us, I think, too, as well. But if you guys are out there watching, throw some comments as well. We're expecting maybe to see Diddy in here at some point, a.k.a. DV, because he's not to be confused with, Diddy. And Jason, a.k.a. Modown. But that remains to be seen at this moment in time, of course, So let's talk about it. Gage, what do you got for me and Nick to kind of nickel here to break into a little bit of?
Well, first of all, before we get jumped into that, I just want to say go Irish tonight.
Okay.
First CFP game of the expanded playoff. And let's go Notre Dame. Now let's jump right into it. Sauce and Nickel. Who are your guys' top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL up to this point in the season?
Well, this is the first question I'm going to ask in response to that. And Nick, I want you to kind of take this into account too. 12, way to get it going here. Get me fired up to start it off. I mean, I got chills right now. I don't know why, but he just came in firing. Top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. How important are certain statistics to the both of you guys? Now, Nick, let me ask you this. How important are passing yards to you?
Man, I think passing yards are honestly where it's at. And obviously your completion percentage.
Okay, now that's my thing. Passing yards is a middle of the middle of the pack kind of stat for me. I don't think that really determines how well you're playing. I mean, some of the best games that Josh Allen has had are actually some games that he's thrown for less yards per se. I mean, the Buffalo Bills offense, I should say, have had some of their best games. Dallas Cowboys last year, think about that. James Cook, Josh Allen had barely anything to do with it that day. But I see that you obviously, for me, it's just more of a, passing yards is not a reflection of how you're moving the ball down the field, because you could also be running the football. You could also have great production out of your running backs and your receivers. It's really up to them with the run after catch. But I will say this, that it is still somewhat important if you want to talk about the top quarterbacks. I think for me, it's touchdown passes, and it's your touchdown to interception ratio. I think that's a big part of it, and your passer rating, total quarterback rating. You got to look at those things. I think passing yards is an attractive stat. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you're throwing for 300 yards, it looks good. But like Josh Allen against San Francisco, 148 yards, 4 total touchdowns. Doesn't sound that great with 140, but then 4 touchdowns? Come on, that's beef, right? So 12, what about you? What do you think passing yards, how important is that of a stat to you in this conversation?
I mean, as long as you're moving the ball down the field.
Oh, we got DV coming soon too.
All right.
He goes, where's the link? And I sent it to him directly. So 12, go ahead, keep talking.
As long as you're moving the ball down the field, running, passing, passing yards, not really as much of an important stat for top 5, but it certainly has to be in the conversation of who is in your top 5. Now, as you said, I think touchdowns, passing and running, and TD to interception ratio. Yeah.
I mean, really, like you can see in certain quarterbacks that they are the system. Then you can see that there's teams that have some great players and they're a part of a system, right? That's kind of how I look at it when you talk about guys like Josh Allen. You talk about a guy like Lamar Jackson in a sense, and you talk about a guy like, I'd say another one of those guys possibly could be. It's tough. It really is tough because, I mean, there's really a lot of great quarterbacks. There's not many, really, that you can be the system. So, I mean, that's kind of going to decide some stuff here for me as well. So, we're expecting DV in here in a moment. But let's kind of break into it. Nickel, why don't you start us off here, brother? Who are your top 5 quarterbacks? Let's go from, Gage, you want to go from 5 to 1 or 1 to 5?
5 to 1. Let's
5 to 1.
5 to 1.
Okay. I like that.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to start at 5. I like Herbert, man. He's gonna be something good one day. At 4,
played good last night.
He did.
Fucking second
At
half
4,
money line. Or no, a money line in the second half.
4, I'm gonna have to put Sam Darnold. He's been he came back.
Right now, for
impeccable
sure.
season. At 3, I'm gonna have to go Pat Mahomes. Obviously, he's up there. I mean, he's a great quarterback, no matter what fan base you're in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to go Lamar Jackson at 2.
Yep.
And then obviously, Josh Allen is number 1 for me.
Okay. And so when you just broke it down like that for me, it makes this conversation really, like, I thought I had a top 5 easy, but now I've kind of started to think about it a little bit more. Because here's some guys that definitely deserve to be in this conversation. Okay, you have Jalen Hurts that could be in there if you want to put him in a way because he is a part of it, but he also has a lot in Philly and he's not always consistent. So I guess maybe he won't make mine. But then you have to consider guys like Jordan Love, who are really playing very well. Jared Goff, definitely you got to throw that guy in the conversation. And by the way, quick comment from longtime viewer Chris 716. What's going on from all of us here in the sit down? It's Sauce God to Chris. Go Bills. Bolster up, stand tall. Now, I'm going to go ahead and start 5 off. I really think it's like you can't judge a guy based on what he's done completely in the playoffs, right? I would say for me at 5 right now, I'm going to put Jared Goff. No. I'm going to put Justin Herbert at 5. And then I'm going to tell you why, because the guy is tall. He stands in the pocket so well. He doesn't want to ever escape the pocket. He is a pure passing quarterback, and he has laser precision. And he's doing this without now, 2 guys that were his top receivers, Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. And he's doing it without Austin Eckler. That Chargers team is a team that's kind of honestly figuring it a little bit out and using guys that are just ready to kind of do the same thing the Buffalo Bills are. Now, I don't think that the Chargers are as high-powered, so it's a conversation for a different time. 4, I'm going to say Jared Goff, because Jared Goff, dude, come on. You had that almost perfect passing day where I think he had 1 incompletion. Dude was just on the money. And I also have a lot of respect for how he went to Detroit. You're leaving L.A. For a lot of people, you go from L.A. to Detroit, that's going to be like, fuck that, right? But no, he embraced it, and he embraced the role, and look what the Lions are doing, something special over there. So I got him at 4. 3, I'm going to put Pat Mahomes in, and it's not because I'm a hater. He's not playing. He's not really playing top 5 football this year. But if you don't have him in your top 5, then that's just stupid, because he is the 3-time world champion, looking to go 3-peat here. And the thing is, though, is the Chiefs are just a great team, and he's not playing his best football. Doesn't mean that he's not going to turn it up in the playoffs. I mean, I kind of expect that out of Pat Mahomes at this point, and he's still dangerous, and he does have such great talent. I'm not going to sit here and hate on him for that. Number 2 is definitely Lamar Jackson right now, and Lamar I have so much love and respect for because he came in. He's a running back. No, I've always believed in him. Shout out to Tim Taylor, T-Bone, Scatterback, Grady Spaghetti Man, love you, brother, who's a Ravens fan. They play tomorrow, by the way, fellas. There's 2 NFL games on tomorrow. There's a lot of action in the world of sports to speak. But Lamar Jackson is playing, dude, it's crazy because Lamar Jackson's numbers are really incredible. I mean, in some ways, he's got some things that are a little bit better than Josh. I think there's just a different set of circumstances as to why which one is 1 and which one is 2. But not being a biased fan, me and Nick were both agreeing that Josh Allen is the number 1 quarterback in the NFL. And anybody that says he's not is just hating. So, let me just bring up some statistics for you fellas. I'm not sure where the guys are. We sent the link out, but of course, hey, they come in, they don't. Now, this is why I'm talking about this passing yard stat, right? Nick, Geno Smith is 3rd in the league right now, 3,600 yards passing. Baker Mayfield is 4th, 3,600 yards passing as well. You got Kirk Cousins at 7th, and he's not playing very good. He's got a lot of turnovers in the last bunch of games. I think Michael Penix actually just replaced him as the starter of the team. And that was definitely not something they expected to do this year. That's a conversation we'll maybe have later on, too. But Justin Herbert doesn't have that many passing yards. A little shocking. Aaron Rodgers is at 11th. Matt Stafford at 8th. Actually, Matt Stafford's playing like one of the top 5 quarterbacks in football right now, too, especially since he's gotten his guys back healthy. So, Nick, let me ask you this now. You hear that. Does it kind of like change your perception a little bit on the passing yards as being a big part of, like the top quarterbacks?
Yeah, no, it definitely does. I mean, you don't expect Baker Mayfield to be in top, what was he? You said he was 5 or 4?
I think he's 3rd, right?
3rd?
No, 4th. Yep.
4th. I wouldn't have expected that. And, and then you put him into a top 5 perspective like this of favorite quarterbacks or best quarterbacks in your opinion there. And I don't believe he's on the list, but then, you put those stats out there and then it's just like, okay, with those stats, he could most definitely be on my list.
So that's my thing. And let's talk about the statistics as far as touchdown passes. Joe Burrow, it's crazy that I don't have Joe Burrow in the top 5, but they are not winning games this year. And I also think Joe Burrow is blessed with some seriously talented receivers over there. And I also think, if you're doing all that and you're not winning, there's something that's just not working. His rating is 107.1. Lamar Jackson's 120.7. Aaron Rodgers currently holds the record. That was back in his MVP season, I think in 2011. 122 was the rating that he had. Lamar Jackson's at 120. Josh Allen's at 103. Jared Goff at 110. But let's talk about touchdowns. You got Joe Burrow leading the league at 36. Lamar Jackson, 34. This is passing touchdowns. Josh Allen is 6th. But Josh Allen has running touchdowns. Josh Allen has a receiving touchdown. Josh Allen is the system. So I think that kind of right there just tells you exactly why he's also played incredible football with very, very, very minimal turnovers. And knock on wood, of course, right? Nick, let me ask you this before we move on to anything else here, too. We saw our boy throw a lot of interceptions, and at times his problem was fumbling. How do you feel about the fact that he's only got 5 picks this year with only 3 games remaining, which would be a career low for him?
Man, I feel really, really good about that. As you said, it's a career low. I mean, that's just amazing to see. He's came such a long way, even, passing, rushing. I mean, man is actually starting to get down on the ground and not just take these massive hits. I mean, that's what ends careers. And we've seen it with Gronk. Gronk and Kelsey are the same age, but look who took the harder hits.
It's the truth right there, bro. I mean, the thing is that I think a big part of it is just Josh Allen has matured a lot. He's worked on his game a lot. And I know people have talked for a couple of years here after the 2020 season, that he wasn't working with Jordan Palmer, quarterback coach who actually works with Sam Darnold. And a lot of guys that actually work on their game and they get to, they really develop quite a bit more. And he worked a lot with him in the offseason, but then people said he got a little Hollywood and he wasn't working as hard. No, Josh Allen has a life, and he definitely is dedicated to one thing, and that's winning football games. I don't know if you guys saw, his dad actually was asked about the fact that, his son is right now in line to possibly win the MVP award. And he goes, that's great, and I know it's a great accolade for him. He's deserving of it, but I know that the only thing that really matters to Josh is winning. That's coming from his dad. And his dad was answering like he was from fucking Buffalo, you know what I mean? Fireball, California. For those of you guys that haven't already done so, hit us with a like and a share, and join us in the comment section as well. It's Sauce God, Nickel, 12 Gauge, the guys here in the Game Book, Sports and Entertainment Network, right here in the Sit Down, presented by BuffaloSauceGod.com, Duff's Famous Wings, Zubaz Own 716 Sports Card and Memorabilia Store in Depew, New York, Louie's Bar in Attica, and, of course, the Big Tree Inn next to Orchard, the stadium in Orchard Park. I knew I was going to say one thing wrong when I did all those sponsors. So, let me ask you this too, fellas. Weekend. We got a lot of looks like a lot of action in sports this weekend. But any betting that you guys got in tonight?
I do. I actually have a little goal scorer parlay in again. I was one off last night. That's why I said fuck Jack Eichel in our group chat.
That's why
I had him on my ticket.
like that.
2 for 3 last night.
Okay, DV said, oh, yeah, and also he's got a note, yeah, copy and paste the link. My bad, fellas. 12, why don't you take us into the next thing that you want to talk to me and Nickel about? Nick, by the way, feel free to chime in with anything that you got. Like, are you gaming right now? Or, I saw you definitely gaming, right?
I'm not gaming right now. I was before, but when I
dedicated.
get on here, I like to have my attention. I like to be able to hear and listen. I'm not a very good.
Nickel's read the defense.
Nickel
Before
defense.
we jump to the next step, can I actually just Gage? Can I get your top 5?
Oh, hell yeah.
All right. Right. After I hadn't really thought about it.
Oh, yeah. Put him on the spot. I love that, dude.
At 5, I'm going to have to go with, I think, Matt Stafford.
Okay.
He's been playing really good. Their last game was not very Stafford-like.
Divisional game.
But yeah, he's still in my top 5. Number 4, at 4, I'm going to have to go with Mahomes.
Okay.
He's having a kind of an off-ish year at this point in the season. So, and the referees are not helping much with his rating in top 5 wise. That's why he's number 4 for me. Number 3, I'm going to go with Jared Goff. Really good offense for the Lions. He's been very consistent. Number 2, Lamar. Of course, how can you not have Lamar in your top 3? And number 1, unbiased, of course, Josh Allen.
Of course. Now, of course, bringing in our guy, DV. What's going on, DV? How we doing tonight, brother? Actually, we can't hear you at the moment. You might be muted or something.
Oh, yeah, I think
Yep. Okay, we could hear you.
hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Oh, yeah, man. I'm happy to be in. I just came in. It's crazy, man. Christmas shopping, and then my daughter caught a flat, so I'm a little late. Sorry, guys,
Oh,
man.
no, you ain't got no trip. It's Friday night. It's always a good time to come on into the sit down. For anybody out there just joining in with us, hit us with a like and a share and join us in the comments. DV joining us. We're talking a little bit about right now. We're just started with the discussion about top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL right now. And me, Nickel, and 12 all gave our top 5. Basically, right now, like we got Justin Herbert, we got Jared Goff in there, we've got Pat Mahomes in there, obviously, we got Lamar in there, and we've got Josh Allen in there. DV knows a little bit of something about football. That's one thing I like about him and Nickel both. DV's coacher. He coaches. You obviously played. You were good at, Nickel, he's got semi-pro tryouts tomorrow, which, by the way, good luck with that too, Nickel. So who's your top 5 quarterback? But before you give us that, let me ask you the same question I asked these two guys. How important is passing yards when you're talking about the top quarterbacks in the NFL?
It's important. You got to be able to pass as a quarterback. You know, that's the number one thing. But you know, it's more to it than that, than just the passing yards. As far as Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen is concerned, it's like years previous, Josh had the booming yards and over Lamar and even Aaron Rodgers. I think that year that Aaron Rodgers won it, I think Josh could have won it that year too if it was based on stats.
Oh yeah.
But it's like stats ain't everything. Sometimes football players are football players. The little things when you take over in games, when you play sharp opponents, how do you step up in the game to lift your team all by yourself? Like, as far as the MVP thing, that's where I'm at with Lamar and Josh. It's like Josh is the MVP. When you say most valuable player, he's the most valuable player on the team. Literally, you take Josh off of the Bills. I don't know if they win 3 or 4 games. Lamar got Derrick Henry to rely on. You got other stars on the offense. And I promise you, if Josh Allen was in that Baltimore offense any one of these years, it probably would have been a Super Bowl.
I see. I like that you say that because, like, Lamar definitely Lamar and Josh Allen to me, and you could say Pat Mahomes as well, but he's not playing top 5 football right now. He's definitely not. But you have to still have him in the conversation, obviously, because he's the world champion. He is what he is. But those 3 guys are the only guys really for me that in the NFL there's a system in offenses, right? But they are the system. They'll do whatever it takes. They could do this, they could do that. And Lamar's definitely passing with some of his best efficiency this year. And he leads the league in passing he's up there in passing touchdowns. I think he's playing incredible. So give us your top 5 quarterback.
My top 5, I like to start from 1. And this year, talking right now, I'm gonna go Josh Allen, number 1. Joe Burrow, number 2. 3, Lamar Jackson. 4, I like that. I like what Justin Herbert is doing. And then I'll go Patrick Mahomes at 5.
Okay. And I respect it. I mean, Joe Burrow definitely should be in that conversation. For me, they're not winning games, but I mean, the dude has played pretty well and efficiently ever since the start of the season. So I got to give it to him for that. So good. That's going to kind of bring us, I think, into our next topic here. 12 gauge. What did you want to ask of us 3?
Yes, going along with that MVP conversation. Has the MVP been decided at this point in the season?
Nico, you can go ahead and take this one first, brother.
Man, I think so. I do believe, unbiased, I think it's going to be Josh Allen. Just by the way he's performed this year, man. I mean, he's just been a top-tier player. Like DV said here, I mean, without Josh Allen, I don't think the Bills win 2-3 games.
So, DV, I'll let you go ahead and take this one next.
Oh yeah, I like what you said because it's like man, Josh, he did his thing in a whole nother level this year. It's like the way he approached this season without his top receivers, the way he come in is just like spectacular. If he goes out there and throw 3, 4 interceptions a game, which I don't see happening, he should have his thing sold up.
Yeah, I think it's clear as day that it's his award. Even if he didn't have the best play for the last 3 games, I don't think it's really all that important. I mean, he lost his number 1 and number 2 receivers last year. He's had guys that were hurt all year. And Josh in the offense were a little bit stagnant at times in the first half to start the season, but they've figured it out and they've started to just absolutely light teams up. They're playing some of the best offense in the NFL right now over their course of the last, I'd say from like the first 3 games in or whatever, but like he's got the award. He's minus 900 the last I saw for some sports books, which it's not guaranteed, sure, but like at this point, it's his award. I think if you're going to talk who's second, though, fellas, I want to know who you guys would maybe say is second. 12, I'm sure you agree that Josh is the MVP, but 12, who do you think is second, Saquon or Lamar Jackson? Or somebody else?
Ooh.
Second. Got me. I haven't really thought about who second's going to be.
Well,
all that really matters is winning MVP. So,
right, the winner, the actual winner. I get that.
All I'm thinking about is number 1.
I get that, but you got to think about who is contesting Josh, is what I should say. I'm not saying who's going to finish that, but who is right now, who is the other guy that would possibly really press him should something crazy happen?
Me, I would say Saquon. Just me personally.
He's nuts. Yeah, he's nuts.
Agreed.
I mean,
I'd have to
Sa-
agree.
so like Saquon, but like I think a lot of the arguments can be made that you take him off the Philadelphia Eagles, and they're still going to probably be a playoff team. That's the thing that's tough for like running backs these days is that you're not as seen as important. Back like how football was before, probably like 2005, and then quarterback really it became a pass quarterbacks league. But
Right.
like Adrian Peterson, last non-quarterback I believe to win the MVP award, and that was his almost record-setting season. But he got the Vikings in the playoffs. People were shocked he won it over Peyton Manning, but that's because he really was the only thing the Minnesota Vikings had, an absolute beast. So that's top 5 quarterbacks, a little bit of the MVPs. I think overall, it's Josh's award at this point. So DB, tell us what you got going on this weekend, brother.
Oh, this weekend, just a lot of family, man. We gotta play. We gotta help Santa Claus get these gifts in and get Christmas and the holidays going in right. So that's what I'll be doing all this week, man. Getting ready for the Buffalo Bills. I just got out of the stadium. They're getting it prepped. It's looking good. They got the tarp over the field. So tomorrow in this weather, not tomorrow, Sunday in this weather, Josh should be able to do some things out there. I just gotta, this probably out the blue. But I got a prediction though for this Sunday that Josh will throw 3+ touchdowns in this game.
I like that take.
I like
Nickel,
it.
you see DV's point?
I do. I like that. I mean,
So
You know why I say that though? I say that because Josh, underlying, he's literally like a real dog. So he's competitive. He's
mm,
he hear what people saying
oh
and
yeah.
gonna get out there and try to, bridge that gap a little bit.
I really think that that's a great point that he's probably looking at like, okay, I'm sure he doesn't really care about statistics, but he probably hears the noise like you said, but he'll probably go out there and maybe he'll toss 5. You know what I'm saying? Just because,
That's
But
what
if the team needed him to do something else, believe me, Josh Allen would do that. You know what I mean? If the team needed him to throw an interception, he would throw one. But
right.
they ain't gonna need that. It is an interesting game. Obviously, we'll have you guys cover with pregame and postgame coverage in the Mafia Sports Bar on Sunday as the Bills play the Patriots at now 4:25. It's been flexed to, and we'll have you cover right here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and follow all my social medias at Buffalo Sauce God. And you guys can check these guys out also in the Game Book Sports and Entertainment Network page on Facebook, and we have a YouTube channel coming as well soon. So college football playoffs are on this weekend. There's a lot going on this weekend, but it is Christmas time. Let's talk a little bit about best Christmas movies, or what are you guys' favorite Christmas movies? I'm curious. Davey, why don't you go ahead, start us off with something?
Home Alone. Home Alone.
Underrated.
Yeah,
My
you fellas?
my first name is Kevin, so Kevin. Home Alone.
You know what's sad? I don't think I watched Home Alone until I was 25. Don't
Yeah.
know why. Don't know why, man. It's just not what was playing in my household. You know what's playing in my household was like Christmas Vacation.
Oh,
Okay. The Christmas Story, obviously, you got to see at some point. You go to whatever, you go to your families, it's on no matter what. But like also those old school, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, like those old school like animation ones, where like you got the mail cart and all that stuff, dude. I love them shits. Them shits were cool as fuck. That's what I loved. A little hot cocoa. You know what I mean? I still got the inner kid in me. Nick, what about you though, brother?
oh man, Christmas movies, man. I'm gonna have to go with Elf. I do like the movie Elf.
Oh yeah, Elf is definitely in there. Best scene in Elf, in my opinion, is when he tries to jump on the Christmas tree to put the ornament at the top.
Yep.
I watched it over and over with my mom and stepdad when I was like 11 years old, dude. But no, how about this? It was a take from Chris. Die Hard. It is a Christmas movie. It is. I love Die Hard. Fucking great movie. Do you guys agree that Die Hard is a Christmas movie?
I don't know. Yeah, it's a great movie. So yeah,
Jack
yeah,
McClane.
yeah.
Oh man. Dude, John McClane, the evolution of John McClane, for those of you that don't know anything about Die Hard, I'm sorry, you have to check it out. But John McClane starts off as just, a badass detective, basic everyday kind of guy. And then eventually he's jumping on the fucking planes, crashing cars into fucking jets to fucking blow them up and shit. He's dodging nuclear bombs. It's like, holy fuck, how he evolved. That dunk, what's this? The drunk Santa joint is nice. I like that take as well. Not a big bad Santa fan. I mean, it was kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, a little funny.
That shit was funny. But no, it's Christmas time, and for those out there, happy holidays to you from all of us here. Enjoy the holidays, be safe, and I want to just give a message. I'm sure you guys can maybe back me up. For those of you out there that have family, make the best of it. Take time and even if you don't get along, maybe take the opportunity to tell somebody, hey, I love you, and I hope they have a great Christmas. You know what I mean? It could just do wonders for people. And sometimes we have to remember in life that some things are easier to let go than to hold on to it because, I got my own situations in my own family where it's tough. I got personal pride. I got my own personal things. But, like, at the end of the day, I want to just try to feel that inner peace inside, right? So happy holidays to all you guys. College football playoffs are on this weekend, fellas. Like, it's interesting whether you watch college football or not. It's 12 teams in the playoffs. It's the first time it's been this way. They used to be a 4-team playoff that started back, I think, in 2014. Before that was the BCS system, which I didn't like. Now you have a legitimate chance to give some schools a chance to get in there and compete for a national title. 12 is pulling for Notre Dame. I'm personally, I like Ohio State and Texas. I'm not like die-hard fan or whatever, but I like Ohio State, Texas. DV, college football, where you at with this?
I'm an Ohio State Buckeye.
Yeah.
I've been a Buckeye my whole life. I played for a little league team in Buffalo, and our colors were Ohio State. I used to think I was Antoine Winfield, and yeah, it's like,
you know what? That just inspired me. You guys keep talking. Hold on.
Yeah, it just kind of like kept me going, and it's weird. I got a little story about that. Antoine Winfield being my favorite player in college and watching Ohio State. I think he won the best defensive player award twice. And when I played JV, I played quarterback, but on defense, they used to call me Little Winfield. So, to keep the story short, his wife wound up being an intern at my school while I was in high school, and met her. And she didn't even know that he was like my favorite player ever. So I meet her at the lunch table in school, and I'm like, who is this new teacher? And she was like, yeah, my name is Miss Winfield. So I'm like, oh, okay, Miss Winfield, nice to meet you. But then something tell me, and I look at her hand, she has the biggest ring on her hand. So now I look at her again sideways, and she look at me. I'm like, are you Antoine Winfield's girlfriend? She said, no, I'm his wife. I'm like, oh, crap. So from then on, she invited me over. I went over for a dinner. Twan came in the house after practice. I meet Twan. Next thing you know, I'm babysitting the kids and everything. And it's crazy that I'll tell you the story because right now, number 31 for Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I threw him his first down and outs in the basement. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's my
no shit.
Winfield at Ohio State.
I fuck with that. I mean, yo, so by the way, I don't know if you saw. Hold on, I gotta get my microphone adjusted here real fast.
I knew as soon as he left, Sauce was going to put on his Ohio State jersey.
Yes, sir.
By the way, this jersey, I actually, 12 gauge, actually, you remember when I bought this jersey? 2020, and it was a certain reason why. I liked Ohio State. I had no college football jersey, but I'm not a guy that likes to go buy a current player's jersey for like a college, right? So in fantasy football, I needed a performance from none other than he used to be the fucking baddest man in fucking receiving corps, but Michael Thomas. I needed him to have a big game. So I'm sitting there watching him catch pass after pass. He was a machine that year that I had him, right? And he had I had a big game. I ended up winning the fantasy football championship. But I said, if he has a big game, I'm gonna buy his Ohio State jersey because you know what I mean. Michael Thomas was out here catching blessings. That's what Freddie Gibbs said that actually. So I can't steal that from him. But no, Ohio State Buckeyes, bro. I love, and the three of us, me, Nickel, and 12, we're all from Leroy. So we come from the black and red, the Leroy Oaxaca Knights, but now it's actually the rivals, which we started on that. But DV, so where did you go to school at, bro?
I went to Lackawanna High School, man.
That's right. Right.
We were
So,
4-time back-to-back state championship appearances. I happened to be the quarterback on one of them. I played in 2 of them, and yeah, that's where the history goes for Lackawanna.
okay, I agree. That's bad. Because, like, Leroy was good in the 90s, the 2000s. We had a pretty good football program. Actually, our head coach was honored at the Bills Stadium, Brian Moran. So Nick currently plays football, DV. He plays for the Genesee County Spartans. Is that correct?
Okay, that's cool.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Nick,
Semi-pro.
tell him a little bit about what you got going on, man. Because honestly, like, you might want to. This guy could tell you a thing or two. He might want to work with you a little bit. Who knows?
Listen,
Yeah,
you
definitely, man. So we're going on our 3rd year as a team. My brother actually played the first 2 years, and he was trying to
Anthony.
play the first year. I didn't go for it. Second year, I took the bite. I went in. Man, I ain't ever gonna stop unless I get hurt or something come about. But man, it's a great team. The fellas are great. I love them all, man. And just, dude, it's awesome being on that field again. You know, high school. You know, as Sauce said here, you know, Leroy had a good team. You know, 90s, early 2000s, kind of fell
Shit,
off.
not when I played.
After 2017, 2018. That's kind of our last good year as a good football team. We were still good, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't the same as watching them guys run around in Blast, Caledonia.
You know what sucks? And like, I'm gonna get a little salty here for a minute. Like, I didn't have a last name because I moved. I was born here and I moved to Vegas when I was like 6 months old with my parents, and then we moved back, me and my mom, when I was like 11, almost 12. But I wanted to play football so bad. When I played in high school, I was a receiver. Like, I'm not fast, but I'm quick, and I'm fucking. You can't tackle me. You just can't. You know why? My feet just keep moving. If you saw me at home, you'd see me. I'm pacing around the house. My feet are stomping through the damn floor. But we never passed the football. 3rd and 17, we're gonna run the football. But I did have the pleasure of watching Tom McCollum play running back. That dude was an absolute animal. But no, it's cool that Nick that you got going that got. I can't talk. That going on, DV. You got, of course, what you got going on, man. So you talked. You know, obviously got a little bit of a connection to a Bills player. You know, what other players? Who would you say are probably your favorite players of all time? And like, tell us a little bit about the connection with it too.
As far as man, it's a long list. I think my favorite player that I ever been around might have been Peerless Price. That's kind of like different, but he was a real cool player. Like at the time, I don't know if I should kind of like air this out, but Rob Johnson was the quarterback. It was like a little battle between Rob Johnson and Doug Flutie going on.
Ooh.
He used to kind of give me the behind the scenes things on that quarterback battle, and I'm only gonna say that he really didn't want Rob Johnson to be the quarterback. He was in line with Flutie, but he was my favorite guy. Nate Clements, he was a pretty cool guy, but Antoine Winfield by far for the Buffalo Bills was my favorite player ever. Just because I knew him, I met him, and I ate dinner and things like that with him, and got to know him. You know what I mean? So
You broke bread with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, legit. That to me is like cool as fuck. Like, how could you not like love the Bills? Because I know DV, like, you love the Bills. You're one of those guys who's positive too. Like, I like that about you. So Nickel, you tell me next, brother. Who's your favorite Bills of all time? Give us a little bit about your fandom. You know.
Oh man, so when I was a kid, I can't lie. I was a big following my dad's footsteps. He loved the 49ers, so for a while I did follow the Niners. But you know, I grew away from that, and I obviously found the Bills, and I ain't going back. But if I had to choose a favorite Bill of all time,
and I'm not including Josh Allen. I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, of course.
I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna keep it in the quarterback range. I'm gonna go Jim Kelly.
Okay. So, and I'm not gonna go into this because the story, but I do know a lot about what Jim Kelly was like when he played for the Bills and the kind of person he was, and he was not a very good person at all. But in all fairness, I guess a victim of his time in a sense, and he's been very humbled by some of the things he's gone through, and I got nothing but love for Jim Kelly. Actually, I dapped him up and Doug Flutie like within minutes of each other, and I almost passed out like a little fucking kid. Like I was screaming, "Oh my God!" And like it was just because Doug Flutie was the legend of the game that day. Like I never had met a Bills player at that point in my life. For me, I'll talk a little bit about this in a second. 12. Actually, I'm curious for you, bro. Who would you say are your favorite Bills of all time?
Roscoe Parrish, because I love the name Roscoe.
Roscoe P. Coltrane.
Leodis
great
McKelvin, Jareth Bird. I love all the safeties. I don't know why.
I love it, dude. He's
Bray
named-
White. I don't know why, but I'm going to say I like Jeff Toole as well.
The quarterback.
Yeah.
Just
12. I fucking love you, dude. I mean, he not only named off so many Bills players during, the drought era, like that were, some of the better players during that time that would give us hope, but then to throw Jeff Toole in there, bro, I fucking love that. I actually was like the first person to get an EJ Manuel Bills jersey. I got it the next day after he was drafted, like before they were made, because I thought, we're about to have a quarterback finally in the first round. And I thought maybe, but no. For me though, it starts out. Terrence McGee was one of my favorites because you know why? I watched him return a kick, and I was a kid, and I was that's when I was getting into football, like right because I was in Vegas. There's no football team there, and if I was a Bills fan back then, it would be embarrassing for kids at school. It'd be like Buffalo. I didn't know enough about the game until I got here, but I watched Terrence McGee return a kick, and I go, and I think he wore the number 23. I think it was 23 or 24, but regardless, I love that about him. And then Roscoe Parrish, that's a great answer too. You got it really, but for me, it's Lee Evans because Lee Evans was an absolute dog, dude, and he was so fast. And like whenever you played Madden football, he was consistently like the Bills, like only good. Like him and Brian Mormon were those two players that were good, right? I almost got to meet him at the Minnesota Vikings game a couple seasons ago, but I think he was already hammered by that point, possibly. He was partying with Bills, but I love that though that you got players that come back and they do this with the fan base. And like that's a big reason. Like I love Big Tree Inn, right? Because players go there sometimes. You get a chance to meet them. Man, I hope that we could actually have some former Bills or current Bills players on here soon. Of course, I've had a chance to have Stevie Johnson on the podcast before. Had a chance to talk with Kyer Alam once, Mark Maddox in the past. But I've been trying to work on getting Steve Christie, former Bills kicker, too, to come on the podcast too. It's just been it's tough to get a hold of these guys and kind of just work on things. But that's great conversation. So 12, what else you got for us, brother? What do you want us to kind of get into a little bit here in the sit down?
Well, I kind of want to dive in a little bit of back to the Niners thing that Nickelback was talking about. What do you think about giving Brock Purdy an extension and making him one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL? Nickel.
He talking to you first.
Oh man,
he put you on the spot.
He came out. I mean, his first year he came out and he balled out like no other. This year I haven't been paying too much attention to him, but from what I've heard, it hasn't been the greatest on his end. So the extension, in my opinion, which I mean to them is absolutely nothing, but to me, I mean I don't think it's worth it. I think we should keep him where he's at. I mean, you can extend him a little bit, but I wouldn't make him the highest paid.
So yeah, I like that they got brought up. DV, I'll let you take this in a second, but I got to bring this up because, quarterbacks get their offensive linemen Christmas gifts, whatever. Pat Mahomes, looked like a little bit of a cheapskate. You know what I mean? But he did get him Rolexes. But, Brock Purdy bought his offensive linemen, new trucks or some shit like that. And Timmy called me. He's like, how could he afford it? He can't afford even to live it. He can't. He's minimum wage in the NFL, and he's also in San Fran, the highest fucking place cost of living there is. It's like he is, in a sense, worthy of an extension, but I don't know if it's for 5 years. DV, what do you think, though?
I think it's tough because I never thought that Brock Purdy was a good quarterback. Me, personally. Because I looked at him always as a game manager that could perform. Like when you got Debo Samuel, you got Ayuk, you got Kittle, you got one of the best offensive minds in the game calling the plays for you. San Francisco with the best defense, your defense playing complementary football. You could make mistakes. You might could throw an interception or whatever, and the defense could save you. But it was like, as far as his extension, I don't want to take his money from him, but maybe extend him on a 1 year. I don't know how that could go. Maybe franchise him, but he got a lot to prove before he get over to the 100, $200 million contracts. A whole lot to prove because I don't know what their record is right now, or are they in jeopardy of missing the playoffs? Do you guys know that?
I believe they
They're
are
not going to make the play. They're like a
not going to make
0.1% chance.
Right. And that's where I say, like, last year I heard rumblings, kind of stupid rumblings, that he was better than Josh Allen, that he was top 2, he's better than Jalen Hurts, all of this, and I'm like, no, he's not, and they're gonna rush and give him a contract, and they're gonna regret it. So I'm kind of glad San Fran, waited this season out, see what he really could do, and I'm interested to see what they can do next.
See, I think if you're going to handle the situation, you got to do a little bit of what Green Bay did with Jordan Love. They gave him, I think it was a 1-year extension with some solid money, but like, all right, we've been thinking you're the guy, and now you're going to get a chance to, but we don't know 100% sure if you are that dude. And I think Jordan Love has definitely played at the status of an above average to elite quarterback. He's played good. Green Bay is a dangerous team in the NFC. The NFC North is fucking powerful, with the exception of the Chicago Bears. Shout out Ryan Poles from around the choir. But I think you have to give him another year. You don't commit 5 years. You definitely don't. 3 years at the max. But if it's on a team-friendly deal, because it could work out really well for Brock Purdy. He could get 1 year, decent money, and he could play really well, and then he could get top dollar. You know what I'm saying? So, but at the same time, like, that's why they want to consider maybe giving him 5 years, but he's not going to become the highest paid player in football. He shouldn't be. I mean, even Pat Mahomes ain't the highest paid player in football. Aaron Rodgers, I think, is going to be, like, I know that Jordan Love and Trevor Lawrence took that over, but I just think San Fran, I think, he's a good quarterback. He's not bad. I mean, he's accurate, but like, does he have he has legs, but he doesn't have that dog in him. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm missing from Brock Purdy.
I think that he don't got the to take over the game. Like like Josh and Mahomes, when you get to the fourth quarter, hey, it's 26 seconds left. You still got faith. I don't know if Purdy could come down surgically, consistently like them. But I've seen him do it. He's down his left tackle. He's down one of his star receivers.
Down a lot of weapons.
He deserves a chance. He deserves a chance to do it.
I think that's the thing is he hasn't played terribly like without his guys, but like when you're not there with your guys and they're part of the system, it makes you wonder, can he survive without him? Josh has had to be asked to do that at times, and obviously look what he's doing this year, but our receivers are nice. Let's not act like they ain't nice. But Christian McCaffrey, it's just I still think, like they invested a lot in him by letting Trey Lance go to the Dallas Cowboys. They only get him with a 6th-round pick, and I think they want to really ride on that because he is at such a cheap salary right now, but you got to give him that extension, and I think it starts with 1 year. But for anybody just now tuning in, this is the Sit Down Live Sports and Entertainment Podcast on Facebook and YouTube, also available via audio podcast with Sauce God, DV, Nickel, and 12 Gauge. We're talking a little bit about Brock Purdy, top 5 quarterbacks, the NFL MVP, and everything like that. So, Friday night, fellas, we got Notre Dame fighting Irish here coming on against Indiana. 12. The over-under was 50.5, buddy. Like, what would you say for anybody out there that wants to make some sports betting picks?
Ooh, I saw the weather in South Bend a little earlier today. I saw a clip on Facebook. It's going to be snowing. It's going to be cold.
Oh, boy.
I'm kind of liking the under in that game.
Yeah, I mean, Notre Dame, they could score a little bit. I don't know much about Indiana. But let me ask you this, fellas, both of you, DV and Nickel. Nickel, I'll get you first. Who do you think is going to win the college football playoffs out of the 12 teams?
Oh man, I don't. I'm gonna keep it straight up with you. I mean, I don't even know who's in the college playoffs. I mean, I haven't even tuned into college football like at all this year.
See, I
So,
knew that. That's why I was testing you.
so
But
I mean,
no,
give me
that's
give
why
me
it's
some teams,
interesting though, because
you know?
it's like even if you don't watch, like it is something new. It's playoff football. It's guys that are going to try to make it to the NFL. This is a chance for people to kind of learn a little bit about the guys that the Bills may eventually draft. You might see some of the best football ever. You're going to see some teams that aren't really, expected to do much, but you'll see some guys, playmakers that really come in and they show you something. It reminds me a lot of Gabe Davis out of UCF. He didn't have a good quarterback throwing to him, but I watched his tape against LSU and I saw consistently the guy getting open against good defenses. DV, who, I mean, you can tell me, Buckeyes, I don't think you're going to be biased, but do you think Ohio State's going to take the national title or somebody else?
I could put it like this: if I had to put $1 million on a team, I'm gonna go with Oregon. You know,
Ooh,
uh,
really?
yeah,
I mean, I think Oregon's a little suspect. I mean, nah, I guess not, but a little suspect. There's just something about them. I don't know. Undefeated team. I feel like you got to go through a little bit of adversity through a loss to kind of, otherwise you might come out flat. But I can see that. I think Texas is going to give people headaches, really.
yeah, I do too. Texas, they got two good quarterbacks. I like yours. Um, yeah, Texas gonna be pretty good. Ohio State, they should be good. But I don't know. I just think Oregon, they got the edge. But college football, and it's the first real 12-team playoff. Something surprising can happen. Like one of these 11, 10, 11, 12 teams come out from the back and win it all.
SMU.
Yeah,
I don't know about SMU. There are a couple losses where like a little suspect. I think honestly, I really thought Miami should have been in. Cam Ward, one of the best players in the country. SMU definitely they did well. I like how the conferences in college football have changed. Like the Oregon's in the Big Ten with Ohio State. It's different. Like there's no Pac-12 anymore. I'm pretty sure. The SEC obviously has Texas and Oklahoma added to it. It's different now to where it's like you're seeing, I don't know, I feel like it's more organized. I feel like it's more entertaining in a sense. I just like making sports betting picks, you know what I'm saying? So like I'm not more of a fan of like the outcomes, but like unless it's gonna hit, the total's gonna hit over when I take the over because life's too short to bet the under. Um Ohio State's gonna definitely be a team that's gonna get up there because I understand they lost to Michigan. That's a different universe. Okay. That's a different like thing in itself. The Michigan game, that's not even a part of the season. They
right.
played some good teams. They lost to Oregon, but that was a close one. And I think Ohio State's got Ryan Day right now, who is kind of really on the hot seat because he's not beating Michigan. It's crazy. The guy's consistently got the team in college football playoff contention, right? But I mean, I understand it too. Penn State over SMU, I don't know, man. Boise State is the third ranked team. That running back, how do you say it? Jeanty?
Chinty, yeah.
Yeah.
JT.
He's
I
that dude.
don't
He's
know.
that dude. He's a dog. Did he break Barry Sanders' record? Do like either any of you guys know?
I'm not sure about that. But I know he was real close.
Dude, he's averaging like 195 yards a game. Like compare that to Mark Ingram's Heisman year, it's like ridiculous the number difference. All right, so you got Arizona State's gonna play a team, Oregon's gonna play a team, Georgia's gonna play a team. But you have the matchups that are already set in stone: Penn State versus SMU. You got Ohio State with Tennessee, and Ohio State's a 7-point favorite right now. Clemson is going to play against Texas as the 12th team. Clemson got in. Um, man, it's crazy. Notre Dame and Indiana tonight, though. DV, what do you got about that? What do you think is going to take Notre Dame or Indiana?
Woo, this is gonna be a good one though. I like the Irish. Uh, Indiana, for some reason, man, they just seem like they might give Notre Dame a better game than what they supposed to. I think I'm gonna go with the underdogs. I don't know
Ooh,
the dogs, but I'm going with Indiana tonight.
okay. Yeah, at least he's being straight up. I honestly, I think that the Fighting Irish have really learned since their loss against Northern Illinois. I think they're going to honestly be a team that contends a little bit in the college football playoffs. 12, I might honestly ride a little bit with you on the Fighting Irish over here. I want
Some
to talk about,
gotta go against.
I love it, but I want to talk about something completely off topic now, and we'll get out of here soon, guys, because it is Friday night. We'll let you guys go ahead and get after whatever you got going on this weekend. But DV, I know you like golfing, don't you?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, tell me about when did you start golfing? Like, And where's some of your favorite courses to play?
Oh, I like bobbling, but I started it was one Father's Day, and me and my friends was just like, you know what? Hey, let's go get the carts and let's just go play golf. So I kind of knew how to putt. I didn't know how to golf at all. But my first hit off the tee, I mean, smacked it straight down the line. It looked good. But every swing after that was super terrible. But I'm a super competitive person, so I'm like, you know what? Now after this, I'm going to the range. I have to go get a new set of clubs and try to take this serious. So I still suck, but I love the game.
I like hearing that. I'd like to think that I've got some great shots, but I'm not by no means any good. But it's funny you said that about your first time because 12 was there, so he could actually attest to this. My best friend, my brother Timmy, who I hope to have on this podcast again soon, he had never golfed a day in his life. I'm letting him use my clubs, and I swear to God, I can coach. Okay, I can coach to a level where it's like I can see what you're doing, and I could maybe help a little bit. But this dude, his first tee shot, swear to God, with a driver. It didn't go exactly straight completely, but he smoked it probably 300 yards. It still ended up working out, but then a couple fucking holes later, this dude legit got up there. He drove the green fucking 300 yards. And dude, it's like he was at that point on the first swing, actually, he was addicted at that point. He looked at me like this and he ran around with the golf club. He said, I see why you guys love this so much. He's wanting to golf so much, but every single shot, other than those, with the exception of some, we're like, yeah, he probably took at least 50 mulligans that day. Gage went through so many fucking golf balls that day.
Not
Because
even
we
on
didn't have time to
myself.
get
I
'em.
had to give them to those two fools over
Oh my God.
Timmy and Anthony.
Hey, he ain't wrong though. No, I love golf. Nickel, what about you, brother?
Oh man, I mean, I got into it a little bit. My best friend, he was big into golf. I mean, he played for Leroy High School. I mean, he was big into it. He always
So
got
did
me
12.
and so I started getting into it a little bit. My brother started doing it between Anthony and my other brother. They started golfing, so now it's just kind of a thing. We get out, hit a couple balls, and if we do it this year, the Spartans do host a golf tournament. If we do it this year as a fundraiser, you guys should definitely come out and do some golf.
Hell yeah. So I was gonna say, I actually think it'd be cool if the four of us and I don't know if Jason golfs or whatever, but if we got together and we actually did some golfing, because it's a great way to bond. It's a great way to get aggravated and still be able to. My thing is, I don't take it so seriously. I don't usually get all pissed off, but I do like to have a good time. You know what I mean? I don't really drink when I play. I like to smoke when I play. Just that kind of gets me like fired up. A couple stogies, you know what I mean? But like, it's all about that like peace and quiet and the nice weather.
Yeah.
And it's just one or two shots. That's great. All right, so my highest score ever though, 75 it was. 77 that I shot at Leroy Country Club. And I'm gonna tell you, fellas, that was a day where I legit was just doing everything right. Like I chipped in a few from like 30 plus yards out. I wasn't slicing shots. I played with the same golf ball the whole day, but I also only drank one or two high noons, and I honestly just sipped it throughout the day. And like, that was ever since then though. I probably push it 100. So yeah, we should definitely golf sometime. I think that's gonna do it for us tonight though. 12 and DV and Nick. Of course we got the Bills playing Sunday. We should be live here. I'm not sure what time yet. We'll talk about that. But the Bills pregame show, the Mafia Sports Bar, right here on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Make sure you're followed, like, and subscribe with your notifications turned on so you don't miss the show. We'll have you covered with everything as far as injuries, analysis, our predictions, sports betting, picks and props, and much more with myself, Sauce God, DV, Nickel, and 12 Gauge. And from all of us here, man, have a great weekend. Everybody stay safe. God bless. God bless and go Bills, because I said God bless twice. Y'all fellas can say something to the people too. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills, baby.
We'll see you
Go
next
Irish.
Friday right here in the Sit Down on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and available wherever you get your audio podcast from. Right here in the Sit Down, presented by BuffaloSauceGuy.com. Duff's Famous Wings. Don't forget that medium is hot. You don't have to ask for them to be extra crispy. Don't forget to check out the in Depew, New York, Zubaz 716 Sports Card and Memorabilia Store, the Big Tree Inn in Orchard Park, and also Louie's Bar in Attica, home of one of the best wag and wing combinations. For myself, Don Corleone, right here in the Sit Down. Say, hey, God bless, go Bills.